Hello and welcome. My name is David Macon. Today's podcast is called, Are You Too Small for God? You are too small. You cannot do enough to matter. Don't bring your little problems to God. God is way too busy for your tiny little issue. God only cares for the big things. What use does God have for your tiny little efforts? Lies, lies, lies. That is exactly what the evil one wants you to believe. You hear it whispered to you every day. Maybe you even believe it a little bit. After all, it makes some sense, right? Well, if you look at it from the world perspective, it certainly does. We live in a fallen world where those in power do not listen to the little people, that you cannot contribute enough to make any difference. So, of course, that is what the evil one wants you to think. You do not matter. That is a lie. What is the truth then? Let us look in the big book of truth, the Bible, and see what it says. God sees you, Matthew 10:30, and the very hairs on your head are all numbered. God handcrafted you before birth, Psalm 139:13. For you created my inmost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb. God will take care of you, Matthew 6:31. So do not worry, saying, What shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? The list goes on for quite a while. So God created you, sees you, and will take care of you. What can you do for God? What can He do with your tiny little efforts and offerings? After all, God is so big, we are so small. Have you ever seen a building made with bricks? So many bricks, each laid by hand. Each brick laid is a tiny action. You can see that even at the human level, actions can add up to big things. But little actions can be made into huge actions by God. In 1 Kings 17:12-14, the ingredients for one meal for a widow and her son fed 3 for over 2 years. Jesus fed thousands with only 5 small loaves and 2 fish. Matthew 14:13-21. What about faith? Jesus says in Matthew 17:20, Truly I tell you, if you have the faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say this to the mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. There are many more examples in the Bible, but how does that look for today? What can we do today? On the floor of the entrance to the United Nations, there is a mosaic that has the words of Jesus. This idea exists in the negative form, do not harm, in almost every religion in the world. Jesus stated it in the positive form and doubled down on it, saying in Matthew 7:12, Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And again in Matthew 22:39, and the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. A radical concept for the first century. Think about that. If you love someone, you care about them. You do not want to see them harm. You feed them, clothe them, take care of them, love them. So it is your heart, your faith, that matters when you pray. When you pray for others with compassion, God hears you. What matters is not the size of the prayer, but the identity of the one being prayed to. Say that again. The identity of the one being prayed to. It is a deception from the evil one who would have us think that God ranks prayers by levels of importance. God loves you. He gave His Son for you. His Son died on the cross for you. John 3:16. Knowing what God, did for you, it would be crazy to think that God does not hear, value, and love you. Do not listen when you are told that you are too small, that what you have is not enough to make a difference. Know that what you have is exactly the right amount. Thank you. Blessings.